Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I'm back with another replay that I took from the front page of drop.sc. Now this one, I can't really identify just which server it was played on, but spawning as our Protoss in the upper left-hand corner, I give you all Toki. Good luck, have fun, grats. I'm guessing this is some kind of a tournament replay, but in the lower right-hand corner, he belongs to the DeKa clan. He was Grandmasters at the loading screen. His name is uniQFazer. And the map we're on right now is, of course, Belshire Vestige LE. And the whole reason why I'm back here casting from a replay right now is very simple. I heard a quote from the film Peaceful Warrior. It basically goes like this. A warrior does not give up what he loves. He finds the love in what he does. And so that's the whole reason why I'm back here doing what I guess you could say I love. I love casting. I love SC2. And there's no way I could fully give up one or the other. So here I am. It's that basically my living situation right now as it is doesn't really permit for me to effectively cast live events. And by live events, I mean, moreover, just online events, basically. I can't really stream with the internet that I have right now. 90 megabytes up, 90 megabytes down is really strong, but at the same time, if you're sharing it with 100 people on the same floor as you, one of them is bound to be pirating something at any given time using a P2P program, and that results in dropped frames, a consistently high amount of dropped frames. Now, both of our players do have pretty similar openers to this point, focusing on the game. Double extractors at both locations, and 2 pylons thus far at each base. Now, in case you don't know why I'm highlighting the factor of pylons, many of you guys may not understand unless you play Protoss, for example. But if you see that your opponent does not have a 3rd pylon inside of his base, that means he could be going for some kind of a proxy play or hidden tech, if you will. But right now, both players just playing this out kind of normal for the time being. Toki is going to bump into his opponent's probe. And then go into his opponent's main. uniQFazer is just sending out his probe for the time being, and he's going to figure out what his opponent's up to. But for the time being, we're just waiting for the cybernetics core to finish up for both players. And then we're going to see just what they're going to throw down. Like, what... Are we going to see Stargate? Are we going to see Robo? Are we going to see this? Are we going to see that? Twilight Council, for example. And it looks like we have a Twilight Council going down for Toki, while back at home for Phaser, he's just going to, I guess, kind of continue to macro up. But this is something that I feel is a little unexpected for Toki. He could, you know, I mean, just given the fact that he hasn't thrown down any unique tech yet, he could be going for something else. And he did, yeah, he was just floating 400 minerals, and now Toki is basically contented with the fact that his opponent is now going for an expo while he's going to be going for a bit of an aggressive opener. Now, if he continues to tech up in a Dark Shrine, yeah, it looks like he's going to do that. It could be dangerous. Because, of course, you have to deal damage with your Dark Shrine. Like, we're talking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 probes killed at the very least, along with a stack of delayed mining time. And just as that happens, we see uniQFazer throwing down his Robo. And I'm not sure what exactly he saw. No, he should know that whatever tech his opponent has, it should be right next to this pylon. But his probe couldn't get in there fast enough to see it. But at any rate, he did see that his opponent's Nexus went down a little bit later than... No, he didn't see the Nexus at all. So for all he knows, his opponent could be doing a 1-base all-in. So this is going to take some very, you know, I mean, just the anticipation that we have coming from uniQFazer is already pretty strong. He's going for a couple of, a couple of later gateways, if you will. And the Dark Shrine's about to finish up, along with Warp Gate Tech. Yes. But unfortunately, we only have one Nexus able to use Chrono Boost, and it goes straight to the Cybernetics Core as appropriately needed. Now, given the fact that uniQFazer hasn't scouted anything from his opponent just yet, I'm thinking that he's gonna try and maybe crank out an observer first. One's already out. But it's gonna stay here for defense. And he actually hasn't really scouted this Dark Shrine yet. So, I mean, he's got, you know, I mean, that's some pretty okay gamer sense. Yeah. I think he knows what he can expect from his opponent, and we have the first DT warping in right now, but it's going to do, you know, if we see uniQFazer react appropriately, it's just going to do 0 damage. Or at least not very effective damage. Here we go, 23 probes to 32. Phaser's not really losing anything. Force fields go down, preventing that DT from getting away, so that's 125 gas and 125 minerals that we're not going to see Toki get back. Now, what can you take away from this? Yes, he's kind of in the gutter. He doesn't have a viable form of offense to use with DTs for the time being. But if he chooses to go Zealot, Archon, Immortal from this route, he's going to have a cheaper method to produce Archons. And I wouldn't say it's entirely viable on 2-base. I don't know because I don't play Protoss. But it is, of course, a very strong, very tanky build versus someone who's going Colossi, and there's nothing to indicate that we're going to see uniQFazer going for Colossi just yet. So Hallucinated Phoenix comes in, and he gets a good read on just what uniQFazer is up to. Spots the Mothership Core, spots the unit composition, and gets out of there. Toki at this stage is pretty far behind. Look at how many workers he has compared to his opponent. So Phaser right now, he's on 2-base, almost fully saturated. Now he is fully saturated as natural. So the question is, what does he do from here? Does he go to, does he get a third? Does he try to do some drop harass? No, I don't know. He is getting a read on what his opponent's doing right now, and he sees, okay, Dark Shrine, Robo. And he also sees a unit composition that is Immortal heavy, so he's feeling pretty comfortable against this, especially given the fact that he had the gateways down first. He has the higher, I guess you could say, gateway production, and one could argue that this is simply a build order loss, but I can't really say with certainty, with confidence, whether or not it is. We just now see Toki getting fully saturated. He's also got a few more gateways out, and he's got a robotic support bay, warp prism as well, so that's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, just to see that micro pan out. And there it is. The warp prism gets spotted while moving out. But the big question is he going to have what it takes to really hold his ground here? It's hard to say. The force fields are going down, but the Nexus is being targeted. The probes are being pulled. And this is looking like it's going to be an interesting game, to say the very least. Just look. Third Immortal arrives to the party. The Hallucinated Immortal is the one at the front lines, but it hasn't been really killed just yet. And we have Toki using a DT to deal with that, and at the same time his 2 Immortals are wrecking house back at home for uniQFazer, and this is something you really don't see every day, guys. Wow. That micro, that's again, I mean, that's something you don't really see every day, but of course both players are losing probes, but right now it looks like uniQFazer has lost the same amount of probes as his opponent, so this is, wow. This is one of those games. It really is. And I can see perfectly now why it was uploaded to drop that SC. Unfortunately, the Mothership Core did recall, but there's not anything here to really save that main Nexus. If it falls, then we're going to see a huge advantage for Toki, but now we see 2 Immortals getting ready to drop into his main, and I'm wondering whatever warp-ins may fall. Now, the big problem for uniQFazer is he doesn't really have the economy to keep up with his opponent. So yes, he's going to have production, but he's not going to have enough. He's not going to have enough of this unit, enough of that unit, enough of any unit in between. And beyond that, he doesn't have any detection here, so we could just see some defensive DTs warped in the main, and that's exactly what we see happening right now. Of course, micro galore, but when you don't have detection, this is what happens to you guys. Mothership Core did fall, of course, when that initial Nexus did fall. And it's still, you know, this game is far from over, but the Immortal Harass is just epic here, and nothing short of it. Oh, but wait, is it gonna fall? Oh, God, one shot warp prism. I never would have imagined, but looks like our blue Protoss isn't faring that much better either. He's looking like, yeah, it was a little bit of a, and that was a misclick on that DT. They were actually trying to target down the warp prism, and what happens is they actually ended up attacking, Toki ended up attacking his own DT, if you will. Now, the one thing that we can see uniQFazer try to get ahead with, and he is doing this right now, is actually double expoing. His main will be ready to go in a matter of seconds, but of course, he's got to focus on oversaturating, which he is right now. the third is under attack from DTs. He's got to do something about that. An Immortal's headed there, but that's it. Like, there is an Observer, and I don't think this third is going to be forced to cancel. But, of course, it is going to tax the micro of our blue toss. And this is certainly a game for the record books. It really is. But Toki, beyond this, he's warping in more DTs into his opponent's main. But there's already an Observer here, so I don't know if it's going to do too much damage. It has the potential to, of course. But I'm thinking it would also be very effective for him to maybe just warp in 2 of them and turn them into an Archon. I mean, 1 Archon versus 3 Zealots, I can't tell you which wins. But yeah, the third over here was forced to cancel for Toki. You know, I mean, that's kind of bitter, given the fact that he got such a huge lead earlier and now it's gone. And it looks like for a rather steep window of time, we're going to have uniQFazer with an economic lead. I mean, that's 100 seconds we're going to have to wait for that third to get fully rebuilt. If we just check the economy right now, yeah, we've got a fully saturated Protoss on, fully saturated on 2 base, if you will. And he's going to have the ability to make more probes behind this, but Toki is actually retaliating right now, and he's going to have an even army supply, but look at the location of both players' army supplies. The DT's coming in and harassing these Colossi. That's going to make a better engagement for Toki here at the third, but he's only got 1 Colossus himself. I just don't know if it can be done or not. He's going to try and target down the third and maybe use a Mama Ship Core to... Oh, yeah, he just gets out of there. He's like, whatever, you kill my third, I kill yours. And very seldom do I see a PvP that is this exciting, guys. I swear to you guys, I did not know the results of this game before they happened. I just looked for a random game that I would not feel comfortable casting, and this was it. Now, both players going for their +3, but of course, uniQFazer is going to have a lead on his. If we check, it's hard to say who's ahead in all of this. They've got relatively even supplies. But look at this. DT's trying to escape. And there's no Observer nearby, so we could actually, we could probably see a DT get away with a Colossus killed there. But the third is going to be protected by some loose cannons. Now, for the time being, we do have 1 yellow health DT. It's just going to stand by there for the time being. And it looks like whatever units warped in there were just absolutely obliterated once they hit the ground. So, Dark Shrine, guys. Strong unit. Both players really being forced to keep, how do I say this? Stay on their toes, but 2 Observers with the main army when 1 here would have sufficed. DT going in here and getting a bunch of kills. But he stops at about 5 there. But checking the worker count altogether, it's now 57 for uniQFazer to 67, excuse me, of Toki. Holy pylons, Batman. I don't know, I feel as though maybe we should see Toki putting those in areas that are a little bit more located forward on the map. That way he's got trip mines to tell him just where his opponent is headed. But right now, I do want to guess. Yes, there it is. Phaser actually has a higher army supply. Checking the unit composition right now, we've got a lot of tanky units for Phaser, more so than his opponent. We do have High Templars coming into the mix as well. So I'm thinking that just 1 storm on this entire Death Ball could make a huge difference, and that's exactly what we could see here. If he does, in fact, have the upgrade for it, he does not, though. And it's not even in research, so I'm a little oblivious as to just what that 1 High Templar is doing in the army composition. Broke open the rocks to make a better engagement point for himself, but he decided not to commit to it. And for some strange reason, we actually see uniQFazer is actually a little bit behind in the way of army supply. I think that's simply given the fact that, how do I say this? He was on lower economy at a lower probe count, and it's just now getting up to par with that of his opponent. Time Warp goes down, and a few swipes go out on the Archons, removing them of about 40 shield points. This is gonna, this is gonna come down a lot to the engagement point. Superior Colossi account is not necessarily everything. We could actually see. I don't know. It really comes down to positioning. I mean, that game with Elfie playing against Stardust, yes, he did do a probe pull that I think did relatively nothing, but it came down to army positioning more than anything else. They were both, you know, actually, Stardust was on higher supply, but he had, and of course he did have a superior Colossus count. It's just that he didn't have the positioning to complement it, and that's what ultimately cost him here. Yes, this little choke point here, this little choke point here. It just wasn't pretty. But Pylon's now going down everywhere, as I think we are approaching the late game. Yeah, that's right. Pylon's right next to Pylons. Blue's right next to Reds. And it looks like we are going to see... Oh, wow, there was no cancel there. But there is a huge drop going down in the main of Toki. And I don't know if he's going to be able to hold this or not. He does have DTs to clean up after all, but he's also going for a drop in his opponent's main. And the biggest problem with this is that there are DTs, and that really taxes the observer count. And as long as we see all these units going to town on the gateways that are in the main, you know, I think this is really going to work against uniQFazer more than it's going to work against Loki. Excuse me, Toki. But Toki, oh no, these Colossus, they're going to get caught entirely out of position. That's not the way you want to engage. That's like, oh, but I don't know. Is this going to be able to work out or not? Now the Mothership Core going to town on the Colossi, and the Archon's going to town on the Archons, but it looks like the Colossi are vaporizing the Colossi, at least in the near future. They are going to fall, but the DTs, you know, we still have Toki with a superior army supply. It's just that he doesn't have the entire composition going for him right now. He's even on a superior base count right now. He does have a chance to get that army supply to slowly climb, but it's going to come down, I think, almost entirely to unit management, and it looks like this DT Zealot drop is finally going to be shut down with the Observer in position. Stopping that first would have been a great idea, because then that would stunt his opponent's Colossi production, and now this is actually pretty big. There's no Observer here. Okay, so one DT is going to just swipe away hopelessly at these giraffes, if you will. But Toki overall, yes, he's lacking in army supply, but at the same time he's got economy. That's all it takes to win a game. Sometimes. But is it going to be enough? Oh man. He's about 15 supply short of his opponent, and he's got to essentially now just buy time before his next big engagement. He's only got a single Colossus out on the map. I think, the Colossus, they really do make a huge difference here. It's going to be 2 Colossus in the near future, 3 now. And, I mean, just this entire Death Ball is moving forward onto the Toki front doorstep of Doom. Archons, emergency Archons warping in right now. I think he was stalling for a little bit in the way of time. But Toki has barely more army supply right now. It's just that it's probably not all in the right position. And speaking of positioning, 6 Colossus with a pretty nice concave on those 2. I think this could be the end of the game. But 3 DTs warp in, and the Observer is not actually with the main army there. Oh man, this is pretty big. Is there an Observer? There's 2. There's 2. But they are far from these DTs and Colossi. It looks like, yeah, 1 Colossus does fall. What about another? Can we see another fall? Oh, yes, it does. That's miraculous. That's great. That's beautiful. That's going to work so much in favor of Toki right now. And really, it was a mistake. Mistakes can cost you a game. But this third is very exposed, and cannons don't really outrange Colossi, so we're going to see uniQFazer steadily able to push onto this. Yeah, they just fall in a matter of seconds. Pylons as well, and then finally the probes will be charged onto after these cannons are dealt with. But what? There it is. More harass, more drops, more of this shenaniganry, if you will, from Toki. He's just doing more and more drops, but he's going to lose his economy here, isn't he? I mean, he's buying time. He wants to get the Colossi out. He's got 2 in production at a time. He doesn't have any on the battlefield presently. And now finally Toki can actually see that his opponent has another Nexus going down. He can't let that economy get back online. And this is just turning into an absolutely savage game. Now, if he could take down that cybernetics core, excuse me, I had to think of the English word for it. Oh, if he could take, jeez, he just lost his observers. So he's got no way to safely detect his opponent's observers, which means he's if he throws in DTs to the mix, then that's going to be basically blind, if you will. Oh man. And now the natural is steadily falling, but I mean, this is a pretty nice, I guess you could say, SimCity. But the natural for our red toss is gonna fall. That one High Templar finally being spotted, but it doesn't have any storms. One Colossus kiting for its life, essentially. And the army supply favor is oddly enough in favor of Toki. He's going to clean this up just piece by piece, and that's actually quite clever. I didn't see that coming at all. But now it looks like all the DTs have been dealt with at home for Phaser, excuse me. I almost said Fuser, the retired Terran Pro. If he loses this Dark Shrine, it could mean a huge stint in his entire, if you will, offensive. Both players down to one mining base, and this is all going to come down to army supply or army count, essentially. And right now it's in favor of Toki, who's been playing so patiently, playing so well. But the Warp Prism is getting caught out of position. Jeez. Fourth base, forced to cancel, amazingly, with all of that army on his fourth base. He was able to actually look at it, and now the main is almost entirely annihilated except for this one pylon. And that Warp Prism is actually pulling his opponent's attention significantly. He's, I don't know. Can he directly engage this? There's a lot of tank here. There really is. The Archon's chasing down Toki's army, and he's just going to run away from that for the time being. And I'm thinking maybe a drop here would be in order. Of course, Toki knows that. He should know that. Oh, no, but he's going straight for the third. Okay, I see what he's doing now. And a DT, an uncontested DT. There's no detection here. Slowly but surely, this could be the last engagement of the game. It could turn into a full-blown base race scenario as we see the workers killed count slowly climb for Toki. He's going to get 82. He's going to get this entire mineral line in just a matter of seconds. And this one Hero Colossus is going to run away. He just didn't have the right composition to kill his opponent, really. And even here at the third, is he going to be able to hold this? It would be a miracle. It really would be. But he isn't. He didn't cancel the third, so I'm thinking he's feeling confident about holding this. But at the same time, he can't. Well, he's got DTs. He's got DTs. DT, strong unit, guys. Wow. The third, the economy here is completely annihilated almost. So now Toki essentially has the superior economy at 400 minerals per minute. His opponent just basically mining this entire dry patch. But there it is. Wait. Phaser just throws out the GG. I don't know about that. I mean, they were still kind of even in my opinion, but I'm wondering what was his reason for doing this. He did slowly lose his main army, didn't he? Or did he not? He just didn't have any detection. Yeah, that's right. He was actually rebuilding his robotics facility. Oh, wait. He already had one. I don't know why he was getting a second one. I guess he just had really no way to deal with the DTs immediately, so he's just like, screw it. This is the one mistake I couldn't afford to make, and I made it. So he lost his observers somewhere in all of this, as you can see. And this really was a chaotic game, so it was difficult to identify. But, that's just it. I've never seen... it's been a long time since I've seen a PvP that's this pleasant to watch. If you guys like what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This is Breaker. I will see you guys next time. By the way, I'm in Korea, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Sorry, I misclicked there.